Welcome to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Buckle up, another exciting night of ballroom boxing. Hi again, everybody. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. John, another excited crowd here at Michael's. They're buckled up and ready to go for another great show.
Larry, the action's always hot here, the beer's cold, and we're ready to go.
All right, two big main events. One of them features the heavyweight Garth Hedger. Garth Hedger 9-2, tough time out the last time. He did get the win. He needs another win to kind of right the ship.
Well, it's a bit interesting fight for Garth Hedger. He was knocked down in his last fight in February, his toughest fight in 3 years as a professional. We'll have to see how he reacts to that experience.
You know, John, it's been more than 2 years now. We've been doing ballroom boxing on Home Team Sports. It's grown over the years. What's the appeal for the fans here in the ballroom?
Well, unlike a big fight atmosphere, Larry, the fans are right in the action here. It's almost as if they're in the ring. They're up close and personal. They get to see the fighters, get hit with the sweat and blood, all the stuff we get at ringside.
Well, folks, next best thing to being here is being there, getting ready for our first fight, Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with John Saraceno getting set for our first fight. John Lockett against Michael Gravitt. Couple young fighters, John.
Well, the key numbers there for John Lockett. He's a much taller fighter, and he's got a 6-pound weight advantage, Larry.
All right, we're ready to go. Let's go up to ring announcer Pat O'Malley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another night of professional boxing at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, compliments of Ballroom Boxing. The first battle of the evening will be in the super lightweight division. It will be 4 rounds. The referee in charge will be Malik Waleed. The Maryland State Boxing Commission Chairman Carl M. Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Pinella, and Ballroom Boxing promoter Scott Wagner present this 4-round event. Introducing the boxers. Boxing out of the red corner, wearing the purple trunks, from Washington, D.C., weighing 136.5 pounds, with a record of 1-0. Please welcome Michael Gravitt. Out of the blue corner, wearing the white trunks, trimmed in purple, from Max Lewis Gym in Baltimore, Maryland, weighing 142 pounds with a record of 1-0-1. Please welcome John Little Warrior Lockett.
So 2 young fighters,
Okay, fellas,
John
you can get
Lockett,
the rules.
Michael Gravitt.
We expect good, clean boxing. When I say break, I want you to stop punching, take a full step back. Remember, protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves, good luck.
Malik Waleed is the referee. And right now, John, you got 2 young guys, 25 years old, in the ring. It has to be a lot of butterflies going right now.
No question, and essentially this is an even fight going in, Larry, on paper anyway.
Michael Gravitt against John Lockett. Couple young guys, not a lot known, obviously. Both kids 25 years old.
John Lockett's going to have his work cut out. He's only got 2 professional fights, and in his 3rd fight, he gets a southpaw. Tall order.
Little Warrior, John Lockett from Baltimore, Maryland, with the striped trunks. Size advantage the way of Lockett, as is the reach advantage. Looks like Michael Gravitt, though, packs some power with that left hand. It was funny, the Little Warrior, John Lockett, arrived to the arena about 2 hours ago and just sat at ringside eyeing an empty ballroom. And now the house is full and he's in the ring.
And John Lockett tried to throw a lead right hand there a few seconds ago, which is a primary weapon against a left-hander. Did not land it, but it's a good strategy.
Lockett also trying to work the jab.
And a lot of times you see when a guy fights a left-hander, he all but abandons the jab, feeling that it's really not a good weapon against the southpaw, but you still have to be able to jab some and do it effectively.
Left hand off the arm of Lockett. Lockett scores there with the right hand and with the left. Makes Gravitt a little angry.
Well, Gravitt got hit with a couple of left hooks. And there you see the warning by Malik Waleed to get his punches up to Michael Gravitt. There we see some of the amateurishness from young fighters, wide punches. those are things that John Lockett has to work on, and certainly Michael Gravitt as they continue their pro careers.
When a little warrior, John Lockett, in the striped trunks throws that right hand, he's completely off balance, and Michael Gravitt might be eyeing a left-hand counter. Time running down in round one. Gravitt doing the good thing, going to the body, then going upstairs, and has Lockett a little bit of trouble up against the ropes.
Good straight left hand, too, by Gravitt. And they're getting to it here in the first round. No feeling out process.
Once again, Gravitt trying to dig the left hand of the body. There's a good body shot by Gravitt. That went a little low on the hip. That's the second warning from the referee, Malik Waleed. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing from Glen Burnie, Maryland, after a timeout. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. A couple young fighters in the ring. Michael Gravitt, 1-0. He is in the dark blue trunks going against John Little Warrior Lockett, 1-0-1. He is in the purple and white striped trunks. John, a very fast-paced first round. Who'd you give it to?
I gave the edge to Gravitt, but certainly was a competitive first round. I think we saw butterflies on both fighters' part. And Gravitt, a smaller fighter, but not backing up at all, but he's getting tagged a lot here now, Larry.
You know, going back to his corner, Lockett looked very tired from that first round. And neither one of these guys has a lot of pro experience. We're going to have to keep an eye on their stamina.
Yeah, I just sense that John Lockett has a little more savvy than does Michael Gravitt. Michael Gravitt's getting hit with a lot of shots, and he's on the end of those long punches from Lockett.
Nice uppercut by Gravitt.
And Lockett's also doing a good job to the body, Larry.
See, that's just the thing, John. You know, you could see a fight differently. I see Gravitt here almost beginning to wear Lockett down a bit. Now, he's taking a lot of punishment from Lockett. Gravitt with his hands lower than they were in the first round, and he's really not throwing them.
And you see Lockett again looking to shoot that lead right hand.
Gravitt dives in and holds on.
Hey, well, you can't ask for much more from two fighters with very little experience in the first and second round. They're going at it.
Nice right hand by Lockett, scored another right. Gravitt's in trouble. Now he's knuckling down. He's digging deep to the body of Lockett. Gravitt is hurt, though. The right hand by Lockett.
Two right hands, Larry, and the second one really jarred him.
Dazed Gravitt somewhat. Excuse me, dazed, yes, Gravitt somewhat. Gravitt trying to size up that left hand, and Lockett letting him off the hook.
And Gravitt keeps walking towards John Lockett. He looks totally unfazed.
And not a lot of work for the referee other than the low blows on two occasions by Michael Gravitt. Nice left hand by Gravitt. Good body shot by Gravitt. Lockett counters with a right. Nice right hand by Gravitt.
There goes the mouthpiece. I think it's Gravitt's mouthpiece, Larry.
Trying to wave Lockett in, wrong thing to do. Lockett following up with a nice combination. Gravitt up against the ropes.
Now he should be going to the body there, right there, John Lockett. Get Gravitt to drop those hands.
Gravitt, little blunt from the mouth and nose of Michael Gravitt after that onslaught by Lockett.
I'm not sure that referee Waleed even knows the mouthpiece is out.
Ah, the nose of Michael Gravitt now. In bad shape. Back with round three from the ballroom. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. Let's check in with our colleague John Scheinman, who's got a scorecard to tell us about after two rounds. John.
I got it all even, 19-19 on a 10-point must system. Michael Gravitt really went to work in the first round of the body, and then he seemed to be wearing out under his own work rate in the second round, and Lockett really came on, and now Gravitt seems to have refound his aggression.
More of the same here in round three. Thank you, John. Lockett up in a corner now, John Saraceno. He doesn't want to be there.
He's getting hit with a lot of right hands.
It's like Lockett is a little low on fuel right now.
And I think Gravitt's corner realized that between rounds, Larry, and he came right out after having a bad second round when he was bloodied and dazed and charged right at John Lockett, immediately scored points. You know, Maryland's got a very good commission, But one rule that's not a good rule is when the mouthpiece is out of the fighter's mouth, they do not replace it. The fighter fights with it, without it, for the remainder of the round. That's not a good rule.
So for the first time in this fight, the fighters tie up. Nice straight right hand by the little warrior, John Lockett. Good body work.
I tell you, Lockett needs to throw more than one punch at a time, and I think stamina is a question mark. And he's dropping his right hand after he throws, and that's enabling Gravitt to counter punch. There's a right hand by Gravitt, Larry.
Lockett trying to hang on. Still a long way to go in this round. Over a minute and a half to go.
And Gravitt's walking down Lockett. And
Lockett's legs
he's
are
hurt.
to go. Big right hand by Lockett on a counter.
But he's still got his senses. He's fighting back off the ropes.
Both fighters fatigued. A long way to go still in round 3.
John Lockett has to learn to get his hands up, or he's not going to be a professional fighter for very long.
Good shot by Lockett with the jab. Big right-left combination by Gravitt, but Lockett is still there.
Wow, the old 1-2 from Michael Gravitt, landing flush on the chin of Lockett.
In the final minute of round 3.
Good right hand there, short right hand by John Lockett.
Tell you what, what's keeping these guys up? Just a feverish pace through 3 rounds.
Some of their punches are a little bit wide, not short enough, and that's where they're losing some of the snap, Larry.
Big left hand by Lockett has Gravitt in big trouble. Gravitt just trying to hang on.
Oh, he's bleeding from the mouth badly.
Taking some serious punishment.
Looks like
Gravitt.
he's cut below the left eye, Larry.
Closing seconds, can he hang on? This has been Gravitt's round to this point. A lot of blood from the face of Michael Gravitt. Stiff jab at the bell. Now we're gonna keep it here.
What a round. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about the Ballroom Boxing Series here in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
Michael Gravitt in a lot of trouble at the end of round 3, and to that point, he had been dominating the round.
Well, he got hit with some big right hands. Both fighters throwing all caution to the wind. Really almost defenseless out there the way they're fighting. All offense. They got to remember to move the head.
And you see how wobbly Lockett was right there. Gravitt had him in a lot of trouble. But somehow Lockett found the reserve to battle back in the final 20 seconds of that round.
Amazing.
Just incredible.
Gutty third round by both fighters.
So with 1 round to go, John, fight scheduled for 4. What's the scorecard for John Saraceno with 3 minutes to go in this fight?
I've got Lockett ahead by 1 point, but really very close 3rd round.
Malik Waleed wiping off the gloves of Michael Gravitt.
I mean, if you were to tell me that you thought Gravitt was winning the fight at this point, I've got no problem with that. It's a very close fight.
Here we go, 3 minutes, final round, the 4th round here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Good body work to start the round by Gravitt. And you're right, a little bit of a cut under his eye. The cut, I don't believe, serious enough to cause a stoppage of this fight. But it could get worse. Nice straight right by John Lockett.
Lockett continued to use that lead right hand against the left-hander.
Good body shot by Gravitt. Another good body shot by Gravitt. Now some holding. And Lockett inside throws the right hand on the clinch.
Well, Lockett is a sucker for a left hook because he constantly drops his right hand.
A lot of blood from the nose and the eye of Gravitt. Gravitt in trouble. Now trying to use his legs to get away and clear his head. Another nice right by Lockett.
Well, Lockett is just teeing off with those right hands on the inside, getting good leverage.
This overhand right by Gravitt.
I'll tell you, some of that early body work that Lockett was doing, Larry, in the first couple of rounds, I think that took its toll on Michael Gravitt. He slowed down noticeably.
Big left hand by Gravitt, but Lockett's still there. Some of the starch out of the punches of Gravitt. Still a long way to go here in the 4th and final round. And Lockett in the corner. Big right hand by Gravitt. Lockett is hurt. Lockett is hurt, but he paddles back with a right hand.
He threw a 1-2.
Gravitt tries to turn him around. Either man could go at this point with just about a minute to go in the final round. Lockett's legs are gone, John.
Yep. It's a good thing it's a 4-rounder. He would make 6.
Buckling the legs of Gravitt with a right hand by Lockett.
Oh, a lead right hand practically spun Gravitt around.
This is what ballroom boxing is all about. Two young fighters trying to win a fight. Big body shot by Gravitt, and they're going to call that a low blow, and Lockett is okay.
This is an entertaining fight for us and the fans, but I tell you what, when you're a fighter, you don't want to have to go through these kind of wars very often.
My goodness, Gravitt's face, a mask of blood. Lockett trying to fire late in this fight, the closing minute of the final round.
Generally speaking, Lockett's been the busier fighter.
Lockett has his mouth open. He's trying to find some air. Big right hand by Lockett. Both men wobble.
Uppercut. He needs to throw an uppercut on the inside if he can get in there. Malik Waleed, the referee, watching closely. Michael Gravitt is taking a lot of punishment.
Maybe we won't see a knockout or a knockdown in this fight. Closing seconds of the final round.
See both fighters very unsteady.
Big right hand by Gravitt. Trying to fire to the end of this fight. Great matchup, competitive matchup. Two 25-year-olds, Michael Gravitt and John Lockett. And we'll be back with the official decision right after this. Just seen a great fight between two young men out of the DC Baltimore area. Michael Gravitt and John Lockett. Action from the final round. John, these guys had great stamina. We questioned it early, and they both were ready to go the 4 rounds.
Well, they gutted it out is what they did. And it was a very difficult fight for both fighters. I thought Lockett had the advantage. Thought he landed the more serious blows in the fight, a little busier. He needs to work on his defense. Otherwise, he's not going to be around boxing very long. But what a gutty performance by Michael Gravitt. Terrific. You know, Michael Gravitt had his best moments early in the fight, probably in the first 2 rounds. And by the 4th round was tailing off, and that's when you see that man right there, John Lockett, really came on. And even though he was unsteady and was getting hit with a lot of shots, I just think that he prevailed.
So Pat O'Malley has the official decision. Let's see what happens from Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Bill Holmes scores it 38-38, a draw. Judge Wingfield scores it 39-37, and Judge Chevalier scores it 39-37, and the winner by a majority draw, John, the Little Warrior, Lockett. Majority decision.
Lockett, the winner, a majority decision. 2-point winner on 2 of the 3 cards. The other judge scored it a draw. No complaints here in the ballroom. John Lockett, the winner, in a 4-rounder over Michael Gravitt. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. Let's take a look at the matchup, John. Before we get the official introductions, we have El Diablo Carlos Diaz against Bert Action Jackson.
Well, the biggest difference is Carlos Diaz is a young, up-and-coming fighter, only 20 years old. Bert Jackson's only had a few fights, and he's already 29.
All right, let's get the official introductions. Let's go.
Good evening, boxing fans, and welcome to the second bout of the evening. Your referee for this bout, Gary Camponisi. Ladies and gentlemen, we have from Darnestown, Maryland, at 158 pounds, with a record of no wins, no losses, and 1 draw, Carlos Diaz. In the blue corner, at a weight of 161 pounds, from Danville, Virginia, with a record of 1 win, 2 losses, and 1 KO. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Bert Jackson.
So young man Carlos Diaz from locally here at Darnestown, Maryland, claims to have fought as an amateur David Reed, who of course the lone Olympian to win a gold medal in the 1996 games in Atlanta, Georgia. So he has a bit of a pedigree. His opponent, Bert Action Jackson, 1-2 with 1 knockout. So buckle up, John. Anything could happen in this one.
This could be one of those proverbial ugly fights.
Scheduled for 4 rounds, and we are underway. El Diablo, Carlos Diaz, has the flaming trunks, red and black. The dark blue trunks worn by Bert Action Jackson. Jackson has a few years on Diaz, 29. Diaz has Jackson hurt early. Look at the legs of Jackson there, John.
Hit him with a left hand. And that buckled the knees of Jackson.
Carlos Diaz 0-1, had a draw in his pro debut.
And now you know why we said ugly early on. You're going to see Jackson brawling, moving forward. And I don't know if our viewers can see the scar on the back of Bert Jackson. It's about 14 inches long. It is ugly.
So Diaz firing early and Jackson catching early.
And Jackson just gluing his forehead to Diaz's chest.
Jackson trying to work a jab. Diaz seemingly is the better schooled fighter here, John.
No question about that. And Jackson really nothing of a puncher to speak of either. He's not going to win a fight like this with 1 shot. So he's got his work cut out for him against the better boxer.
Now, is he doing the right thing smothering Diaz, who hurt him early?
Well, it all depends. I mean, he could do it for a while, but if he stays on the outside, you're going to see Diaz pick him apart.
Nice straight right.
On the inside, of course, he's in the danger of getting hit with a power punch.
Nice right hand by Jackson, and some blinking from the right eye of Diaz.
He's been blinking, yeah, since the first part of the fight. We noticed that.
Caught a thumb, but the right eye causing him some problems. Both eyes kind of causing him some problems right now.
He may just be a blinker.
Might be. Don't blink. You might miss a knockout here. Minute to go in the first round.
He might miss his own knockout. He's not quite hitting the target. Throwing a lot of punches, but virtually none of those punches are landing.
Good left, and now Diaz up against the ropes, allowing Jackson to find a little rhythm here at the end of the first round.
And you just see the brawling style of Bert Jackson. He's trying to rough up Diaz on the inside. And Diaz just hitting him at will when he wants to. But he's missing a lot of punches too. Maybe he's trying to be charitable and let Jackson get out of the first round.
Nice combination by Diaz as Jackson trying to put his body and push Diaz up against the ropes. Closing moments of the first round. Great to have you with us. We're in the ballroom tonight on Home Team Sports. Middleweights in the ring. Ballroom Boxing, Larry Michael, along with John Saraceno. Thanking the good folks at Toyota for sponsoring tonight's action from Michael's 8th Avenue. In the ring right now, middleweights, Carlos Diaz, El Diablo in the red and black trunks going up against Bert Action Jackson from Danville, Virginia. Jackson in the dark blue trunks. The first round, Diaz showed some action early. John, did you give the first round to Diaz?
Yeah, I think he clearly landed the better punches while Jackson was brawling, which again Jackson's trying to do in the second round.
Really trying to just force Diaz into a barroom brawl, and the referee Gary Campaneschi warning Jackson for the tactics.
And leading with that forehead, that's an illegal tactic in boxing. Campaneschi making a correct move there to warn Jackson. Jackson off balance, Larry, when he throws a lot of his punches on the inside. You'll see both of his feet square up. It makes him susceptible to a knockdown.
By the same token, the unorthodox style of how he bounces, he scored. He scored. You got to see some swelling around the left eye now of Carlos Diaz.
And Diaz came out in the second round and tried to jab and set up the right hand, and immediately Jackson took him out of that strategy with his brawling tactics.
So Jackson again pushing Diaz, and Diaz continues to blink, and we're going to have to try to find out what that's all about. Good body shot, and now Action Jackson saying it was low. Was it low, John Saraceno? And Gary Campaneschi is going to give Action Jackson time to recover.
Campaneschi certainly thinks so. and his is the opinion that matters.
He's going to give him a break, 5 minutes, which is the rules of boxing. Those are the rules of boxing. He is allowed a break if it is deemed a low blow.
And Diaz is very upset in the neutral corner. Now he's looking at his corner. His corner's trying to settle him down.
They're giving Jackson a stool and going to give him an opportunity to recover from what the referee says and what Jackson claims was a low blow. And we have the liberty of a replay. Let's take a look and see if that blow was indeed low. Keep an eye on this now. Hopefully the referee does not screen us out. Here you go. They're tied up.
There was a short right hand.
Still nothing.
We're going to see it coming up.
Diaz coming in.
No.
Good body shot.
No.
Right on the solar plexus.
That's just a punch that hurts.
Right on the liver. Right on the liver. Now, they're not allowed. Hey, instant replay got shot down, so the referee does not have the liberty of instant replay, John.
No, he doesn't.
So he's got to go with what he saw, and he saw it as a low blow. In fact, it was not low.
And the fans at ringside saw it correctly also. They don't like the call.
So
nevertheless,
it's tough. Yeah, you don't have instant replay in boxing.
Jackson is getting the benefit of this 5-minute break, and you can see him sucking wind on his stool.
Now,
he looks like he just swallowed the cat that swallowed the canary.
Our replay clearly showed that punch in the liver area, right up against the midsection of Bert Action Jackson.
And Carlos Diaz knows, a fighter knows where his punches are going, and they know if they deliver a low blow. And that's why he was upset.
Now, I don't understand why they're allowing Jackson so much time. He appears ready to fight.
Well, they should make him get off the stool. He's had enough time.
Jackson really milking this to its utmost. And, you know, are they going to bring out a shower for him as well?
Maybe some milk and cookies in his slippers.
That was a heck of a body shot by Carlos Diaz. And Action Jackson better be ready to go, because that was a body shot. That did hurt him. He was knocked down with a body shot. And you wonder if that rest has helped him recover.
It certainly didn't hurt him. But in a fight like this, I'm not sure it's going to make a big difference, Larry.
Big left hand by Diaz. Don't forget, at the beginning of that round, Jackson had forced Diaz up against the ropes. Another good body shot. Another good body shot. And you're right, Diaz knows.
Well, his corner, I think, told him during that break in the action, go back to the body. This guy can't take it there. He wants to quit on you.
Pounding left hand by Carlos Diaz. Jackson in some bad shape.
And Jackson is not a big enough puncher where if Diaz does go to the body, he's going to give up the head somewhat, where he's really going to be in a lot of danger by doing that. So it's a good gamble for him to take. As long as he continues to roll those shoulders and go underneath. He's standing awful straight up, though.
Big left hand by Diaz. Jackson is certainly in trouble.
The referee, Campanishi, really taking a close look at Bert Jackson.
Shot. Yeah, Jackson is in trouble. Round 2 winding down. Controversial round 2. Back with more boxing on Home Team Sports. Round 2, Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Carlos Diaz in the black and red trunks going up against Bert Action Jackson, and controversy in the second round. A low blow as seen by the referee. Our replay showed it to be clearly above the belt line. And now Carlos Diaz is going back to work to the body of Jackson. Jackson trying to fight back.
Well, Jackson's trying to survive, I think, at this point. And if Diaz keeps ripping away at the ribs, I don't think this fight has long to go.
Good body shot by Diaz. Nice clubbing left hand with the hook by Diaz.
You see Jackson trying to make himself low and turning his body away so it doesn't present an inviting target for Carlos Diaz, who's just feasting on those ribs.
This middleweight bout is scheduled for 4 rounds. We're in round 3. Little uppercut by Jackson. The body shot really hurt Jackson. He's hurt again. Let's see if he can recover. Diaz should know it. Jackson holding on, doing the right thing. The body shot, the right hand, took a lot out of Action Jackson. Another body shot by Diaz. So left hand again.
The action is starting to leave Jackson. If it hasn't already left.
Jackson trying to survive and doing it so far here in round 3. It looked like he would go a few moments ago, and now he's firing back. Diaz could go exclusively to the body and put Jackson away. I really believe that.
I don't know if I would agree with your choice of verb for Jackson of firing back, but he is trying to punch.
Little blood from the nose of Action Jackson.
I'm not sure he could crack a window pane right now, Larry.
I know you've been sitting on that line.
And again, I'm not up in the ring, so it's a lot easier to sit here at ringside, as all our viewers know.
That's true. It's easy to talk outside the ropes. Diaz, another good body shot. Really doing a great job of just hammering the body of Action Jackson.
If Diaz would just step to the left and throw a little uppercut, I think he could stop Jackson.
It's going to have to be a body shot, though, it would seem. Jackson scored with a right hand, snuck one in, and Diaz now a little wobbly. How about that?
He's got to hit Jackson right on the butt.
Jackson covering up nicely.
And he's throwing those wide punches to the body, which has been very effective. But Diaz is not much of a straight puncher. He really isn't. Very average puncher.
Done some good body work. Jackson with a straight right hand. Blood from the nose of Action Jackson. Middleweight fight. 4 rounds. The 4th and final round coming up next. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with John Saraceno of USA Today and Ring Magazine's John Scheinman. John, your scorecard after 3.
I have Carlos Diaz ahead 30-26 after 3 rounds. I gave him a 10-8 round in that strange second round. This is a classic example of one punch changing the complexion of a fight. I thought Jackson really thought that Diaz couldn't hurt him after the first round and came on strong in the second round. But once he tasted that body shot, the whole complexion of the fight turned around.
John Saraceno, do you concur with John Scheinman?
I do. I've got it a shutout, but I've got it 30-27.
Diaz trying to show some added emotion here in the final round, and he gets tagged by a right hand from Action Jackson, who still has some action. It's been a pretty good action fight. Mostly pressed by Carlos Diaz out of Darnestown, Maryland, a record of 0-0-1. This is his second professional fight. That body shot, that left hand of the body, has done a lot of damage in this fight.
But he would still benefit when he steps inside of throwing a short little uppercut. Throw a left hook, then the uppercut. Or as Tyson would do it, the uppercut, then the left hook.
Another body shot. The fans calling for the body shot now. Even the fans know. Well, we've been watching since the first round. The body work of Diaz has really been the key to this fight.
Well, Jackson just wearing down. He's been a punching bag through the first 3 rounds. Now we're into the 4th and final round. You can just see the fatigue has really set in. And Diaz has really allowed himself to get sloppy, Larry.
He has.
Because he's fighting to the level of his opponent, in a sense, and he's really getting in some bad habits here.
You see Jackson has very little left. Diaz still has some good fundamentals. And Jackson in a survival mode, and I think he might just survive this fight.
And Carlos Diaz looks like he's going to win his first professional fight.
Yep, maybe I was wrong. As Jackson's legs about to buckle, he is holding on. It's very close to being over. Gary Campaneschi taking a very close look at Bert Jackson. Somehow Jackson continues to fight back. Overhand right by Diaz. One good shot, John, and Jackson is out.
Yeah, Diaz is just not a strong puncher. Otherwise, it would have happened already.
There's a body shot by Diaz. Diaz losing a little steam himself right now, closing moments of the 4th and final round. Jackson in deep, deep shape. He's about to go, but he will survive. Bert Jackson, overhand right by Jackson. The ropes keeping him up as this fight comes to a conclusion. Carlos Diaz, apparently the winner. We'll find out when Ballroom Boxing returns. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. We've seen some great action so far, John, where a blow was landed. The referee thought it was a low blow. It was clearly not a low blow. Hey, recently the NFL voted down instant replay. Is there room for instant replay in boxing, John?
Well, I don't think we're going to see that happen, Larry. But clearly there was no low blow. And Mr. Jackson, Bert, we should call him, did a better acting job than Burt Reynolds would do, and he didn't win an Oscar either. But
it's very tough sometimes on a referee if he's not in the proper position to be in position to see such a blow.
And the referee did not see it. I think everybody else in the ballroom saw it. He did not. He tried to give the fighter the benefit of the doubt, gave him some time on his stool, but it didn't matter.
Judge Ken Chevalier, 40-36. Judge Bill Holmes, 40-36. And Malik Waleed, 40-35. For the winner, Carlos El Diablo Diaz.
So Carlos Diaz wins it. It's his first professional win, and John, I think he earned that victory.
No question. It was really an easy fight for him. Robert Jackson, just a brawling, crude kind of a fighter.
We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue right after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. Next fight is in the ring, Derrell Hollowell and Carlos Jones. And John, let's take a look at the matchup. Hollowell, obviously Jones, 27 years old from Landover, Maryland. Hollowell, however, 36 years old. How about that?
And that's going to be a telling factor in a fight. Of course, fatigue, always a major factor in boxing. And with that significant age advantage, it's going to matter.
Let's go to Pat O'Malley for the official word.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl N. Milligan, Jr., Executive Director Patrick Piniella, and Ballroom Boxing promoter Scott Wagner, matchmaker Josh Hall present this 6-round bout in the cruiserweight division. The referee in charge is Jodai Wingfield. Introducing the boxers. Out of the red corner, wearing the blue trunks from Washington, D.C., weighing 183 3/4 pounds, with a record of 6-6, 4 by knockout. Please welcome Darryl Triple Threat Hollowell. Out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing 185 pounds, from Landover, Maryland, with a record of 3-2, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Carlos, the Headbanger Jones.
Jodai Wingfield is the referee, and John Saraceno, Carlos Jones, a last-minute replacement to face off against Derrell Hollowell. What does that do to Hollowell as he prepared for this fight, finding out the last minute that his opponent has changed?
Well, frankly, at this level, I don't really think it matters.
Well, I prefer for you to be Frank, but I also prefer to you to be John. So we're underway, round one, cruiserweights. Larry Michael with Frank Saraceno. No, John Saraceno.
There is a Frank Saraceno.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Okay. Boxing guy?
He works for ESPN as a production assistant.
How about that?
Enough of that.
Thought one was too many. All right. And, you know, you take a look at Derrell Hollowell. This guy's 36 years old. And, John, you know, it's been a few years since you were 36, but this guy's in pretty good shape for a guy his age.
Not only that, Mr. Hollowell has not fought in 6 years. So he is coming off what you would call an extended layoff, to be charitable. He's got to shake that ring rust off.
He's in great condition. Hollowell with the right hand. Overhand right, Carlos Jones in trouble.
Right
and he
hand.
is down. Right in front of us. Can he get up?
And Hollowell,
I do not think so.
He set it up with a good body shot and a straight right hand. This fight's going to be over.
First round knockout. Derrell Hollowell short circuits the brain of Carlos Jones. It is over in a hurry.
And if there's any ring rust on the mat, I don't see it. Wow, what a comeback for Derrell Hollowell. Had not fought since 1992. He trains with Charles Mooney, of course, has worked with Simon Brown in Silver Spring, Maryland. And Jones, Carlos Jones, he fights out of the local DC area also, normally trained by Adrian Davis, but Adrian could not be here. He's training Shannon Briggs for a fight. And he could have used Adrian. On the other hand, it might not have mattered.
Just devastating power. Overhand right by Derrell Hollowell. Triple threat. It did not even get to the third round. Set him up with the jab. Check out, I believe it was a right hand, John. Let's wait and see.
Right down the pipe. And there it. No, that wasn't it. There's a left hand. There was one of those body shots snuck in underneath. And there it was.
It was the right hand. It got through the guard of Carlos Jones, and it was lights out. Jones is up. He is okay. And that's a good sign after taking a punishing right hand from Derrell Hollowell.
Jones talking to the referee, Jodai Wingfield. I don't think he realizes what's happening. Frequently when you have a vicious knockout like that, a fighter gets up and he says, well, let's go. What are we waiting for? He doesn't realize the fight's already over and he's been knocked out.
He doesn't even realize he's been knocked out. Good sportsmanship there.
Larry, he might not even know he's in the state of Maryland right now.
All right, so a quick ending to this cruiserweight fight. Let's hear from Pat O'Malley with the time of the knockout.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at 105 of round one, Darryl Triple Threat Hollowell.
So a successful return to the ring for 36-year-old Derrell Hollowell. Devastating fashion. A first-round knockout of Carlos Jones. See if we get another look at that knockout punch. And he really zeroed in with the right hand, John. You can see, look at the concentration in the eyes of Hollowell.
You see him slipping that first shot. Snuck a left hand in underneath and tried with a right hand. But then as he backs away, he had his gloves up, but he split him right down the middle.
Yep, got him right on the side of the head, maybe got him right on the temple. So the winner, moving his record to 7-6, is Derrell Hollowell, victorious after a 6-year layoff. Back with more exciting boxing action from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. Great to have you with us here on Home Team Sports for Ballroom Boxing. Thanks to the good folks at Coors Light and Original Coors for sponsoring Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Let's take a look at a matchup for our next fight. This is a 6-rounder. Vincent White going up against Robert Mohammed. John, take a look at the matchup.
The numbers are very similar, Larry, between both fighters. But really the biggest difference is Vincent White's a little taller and has a little reach advantage. Other than that, pretty equal.
White from the state of Maryland, so somewhat of a home ring advantage. And Robert Mohammed, we've seen him before in the ballroom. Very tough customer out of Atlanta, Georgia. Let's go up to Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carlin Milligan Jr. and Executive Director Patrick Pinella and Ballroom Boxing present this 6-round bout in the junior middleweight division. The referee in charge will be Malik Waleed. Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks trimmed in white, from Atlanta, Georgia, weighing 156¼ pounds, with a record of 6-7, 4 via the KO. Please welcome Robert Mohammed. Out of the red corner, dressed in blue, weighing 152¼ pounds, from Capitol Heights, Maryland, with a record of 7-0-1, 2 by knockout. Please welcome Vincent BOJAY White.
Robert Mohammed is a very, very durable opponent for Vincent White. Vincent White He's never lost. 7-0-1 with 2 knockouts. The referee, Malik Wali. And again, John, I've seen Muhammad before, and he is all business. There's not going to be any hiding in the ring tonight.
Now, this should be a real competitive fight, despite Muhammad's record, which is under 500.
Vincent White, not what you'd call a huge puncher. Just 2 knockouts to his credit, 7 wins. This fight is underway. See the artistry on the body of Vincent White. BOJAY White, nickname for Vincent White from nearby Capitol Heights, Maryland. Robert Muhammad not throwing punches here in the early going, John. You're going to see him. He's going to fire out real quick, and Vincent White better be ready.
Well, Muhammad's been a very active fighter. He's basically averaging a fight a month over the last 15 months. It hasn't always gone his way. He's lost to both Baku brothers. Rufat and Emil lost 2 6-round decisions in 1997. And a real bad outing to start this year against Anthony Fields. He was stopped in 2 rounds. Promising prospect, Anthony Fields.
And he did give Fields a tough time in the first round. Set Fields down, in fact, in the first round of that fight. Fields, though, local unbeaten fighter, up and coming. Muhammad still trying to find his niche right now. As you said, John, he's got a losing record, but he's got some skills.
No question. One tough cookie, as they say.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. And they are at the junior middleweight limit.
It's a good test for White.
The body shot by Muhammad has White up against the ropes.
And White wants to get out of there. Took his time doing it.
A little bit of blood from the mouth of Vincent White here in the first round.
Short little right hand there by Muhammad. Snuck one in. Gets a warning.
Muhammad keeps coming forward. Sometimes he does so to his detriment, especially when he gets hurt. Has a hard time changing gears to maybe go backwards or side to side. He's all ahead.
Well, White's got a lot of nervous energy right now. He's still a young fighter. Hasn't quite settled down here in the first round.
Nice jab by White. Right hand counter. A lot of blood from the mouth of Vincent White.
But he's not fighting like it's bothering him.
Seems that White might be fighting the style that is best for Muhammad. What do you think?
Yes, at this point, toe-to-toe, standing inside with him, trading. That's not the kind of fight that White wants against Muhammad. Wants to box, use his legs.
Combination of the body by Muhammad.
Muhammad's really going to test White on the inside, see what kind of fighter he is.
Muhammad knows how to go the distance. He's gone there 4 times in his young career.
Short uppercut on the inside by Muhammad. He's really taking control of this first round, Larry.
Muhammad making a statement in the first round. Back with more Ballroom Boxing. Don't go away. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue, Glen Burnie, Maryland. A reminder coming up, the next card here at Michael's 8th Avenue, May the 13th. May 13th, tickets available. Call Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland for more information. In the ring right now, junior middleweights, Vincent White and Robert Muhammad. In the first round, though, White with an unbeaten record, 7-0-1. Let me make this prediction. I bet you John Saraceno had Muhammad winning the first round.
I did. I like the underdog, you know that. You know, Vincent White only has 1 blemish on his record. That was last June against Demetrius Jennings. Fought him up in Connecticut to a draw.
And he really abandoned his style, which is that of a boxer. Muhammad would love to corner him, just love to corner him, have him lay up against the ropes, and allow Muhammad to fire away. Good shots.
Wow, good right hand by Muhammad. And that's the kind of shot that will slow a fighter down. You know, sooner or later, White is going to have to pick a spot and fight Muhammad. He's not going to be able to backpedal and retreat all night. There's some good work on the inside. You saw him moving his head side to side and then slipping in the right hand.
Talking to Muhammad before the fight, we asked him who he might consider heroes in the boxing world. And by his style, would you might have a guess, John, on who one of his heroes in boxing might be? Or in terms of guys he might style himself after?
Little Mikey?
Yes.
Yeah. Very little Mikey, especially when Mike was in his prime. Of course, we're talking about Tyson.
Well, you see, he's coming in there firing fast combinations, power combinations.
He's got the haircut, too.
Yeah, every punch with the...
But he's wearing socks, Larry. He's got to get rid of the white socks.
And tassels.
Yeah, it's not going to fly. He's putting his punches together. Those things are flying right now.
Our promoter, Scott Wagner, said this could be one of the best fights of the night. The way sometimes styles make fights, and right here you have the boxer against the puncher. And I think the puncher is dominating the action thus far. Robert Muhammad in the dark trunks has Vincent White up against the ropes again.
It's as simple as this. He's out hustling White, and he's really pouring it on, and White's got to get off those ropes.
Great body shot, a good head shot by Robert Muhammad.
Now, what was the point of White being on the ropes and taking all that punishment, losing points in a round?
Now Muhammad showing some signs of fatigue in the second round. Good left hand by Vincent White.
Sorry, Larry. White really showing his inexperience here in the second round.
Spinning Muhammad off the ropes.
Yeah, but he didn't make him pay when he did it. I mean, he made a move, but it wasn't quite quick enough, and he didn't follow it up. Muhammad just looks a little bit craftier. Of course, he does have more experience.
Muhammad, though, is slowing down somewhat as round two comes to a close. As usual, a great matchup in the ring, in the ballroom. Back after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. John Scheinman is with us as well. John, what's your scorecard say after 2 rounds?
Shutout for Robert Muhammad, 2 rounds to none, 20-18. You know, considering the last 3 guys that Robert Muhammad's fought here, Emil Baku, 6'1.5", Rufat Baku, 6'2" plus. Anthony Fields was around 6 feet. Seeing a guy who's only 2 inches taller in Vincent White has got to be a real breath of fresh air for him. And White plus is not a puncher, so Muhammad so far has really been having his way with him, putting a lot of pressure on inside.
All righty. Good body shot by Robert Muhammad inside. Good left hand by Muhammad.
He got hit with a left hook by White.
Muhammad coming right back, though. That punch, he really walked right through that punch.
Yeah, he did. Good uppercut. Muhammad's really giving him a textbook lesson on fighting on the inside. Not really using much of a jab.
Still
mostly
blood.
Left hooks and uppercuts and right hands.
Still blood from the mouth of Vincent White.
Well, Vincent White's going to be forced into a fight here he probably really didn't want to have.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. White has only gone 6 rounds on 1 occasion. That was the fight he had a draw in, his lone blemish, if you'd call it a blemish. That was back on June the 29th of 1997. And again, White really not doing the boxing we thought he would do. He's been pulled into the style of Robert Muhammad. Maybe it's a macho thing.
No, they just traded left hooks and both missed.
This overhand right by White.
And White's gone left-handed here on us.
Doesn't seem to bother Muhammad at all. He continues to move forward. Nice little right hand by White.
Not a bad move by White to try to get something going in his favor. Actually, I think it is bothering Muhammad a little bit, Larry. Doesn't seem quite to know how to deal with that southpaw stance from White. White lands some good shots on the inside.
Another left hand and a right hand and a right hand by Muhammad.
And Muhammad using that straight right hand lead against the southpaw, connecting. It's a good fight.
It is a good fight. Now White backing away, staying with the left hand stance. Muhammad out of range right now because of the stance of White.
And I see a little bit of fatigue setting in on Muhammad right now. He's starting to get wide and wild with his shots. Not nearly as composed as he was in the first 2 rounds. Starting to slow up just a little bit. Yeah, he looks like he's in a hurry to get White out of there. Like he knows he's got a good 3 or 4 rounds in him, and he wants to try and stop him if he can.
A little bit of a comeback round for Vincent White from Capitol Heights, Maryland. We'll be back after this. Larry Michael, John Saraceno on Home Team Sports Ballroom Boxing. From Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, a very competitive matchup right now between two junior middleweights. Robert Mohammed in the dark trunks with the white tassels. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. Robert Mohammed with a record of 6-7 with 4 knockouts. Vincent White in the blue trunks from Capitol Heights, Maryland. He's 7-0-1 with 2 knockouts.
We heard John Scheineman talk earlier about the height disadvantages that Mohammed has gone up against. And you see in this round, being the shorter fighter, he's got to work in past that jab of White, and it's becoming more and more of a problem for him.
White now back to the conventional stance after, in the previous round, gaining the round on your scorecard after turning to the southpaw style.
Definitely. I've got it a 1-point fight after 3 rounds. Close fight. And White, and now he's going back to the jab. He needs to double up on it at times and then maybe throw the left hook behind it. But those are the kinds of things that a young fighter has got to learn. Hook off the jab, keep throwing the jab, don't get lazy with it.
Robert Mohammed has been stopped in his last 2 fights. And you wonder what that does to a man's confidence. Right now, seems to be supremely confident. He's ahead on your scorecard by a round. And right now, Vincent White really not doing what he did in the 3rd round to turn the tide. He's now he switched to the southpaw stance. Didn't he sense that that was giving him a little bit of an edge, you think?
Well, I think he's got to know that it gave him an edge, but I think it's one of those things he just wants to pull out of his bag once in a while. Actually, I like the way White's fighting this round. Right what he's doing there. He's giving him that head movement side to side, picking his shots, and then moving off to the side out of harm's way.
Big left hand by Mohammed. White trying to take the tempo away from Mohammed.
Well, the biggest mistake White is doing is when he continues to back up against the ropes, and you don't see him doing it as often as he did in the first 3 rounds. I'm sure his corner jumped on him and told him, get off those ropes. That's where Mohammed was doing a lot of that damage early in the fight.
Robert Mohammed with 4 knockouts to his credit of his 6 wins. Last knockout coming back on April the 22nd of last year. A 2nd round knockout of Jazzy Kirkley. So he played some chin music for Jazzy that evening.
Well, White in this round sticking primarily with the jab and move tactic. I caught that last one, Larry.
I just try to sneak it by you there. This round here, John, has kind of been opposite of anything we've seen in this fight. Very little action. The tempo slowing that has to play in the hands of Vincent White. Back with round 5 after this. Getting set for round 5 of these junior middleweights, Vincent White and Robert Mohammed. Let's go to Ring Magazine's John Scheinman for a look at the scorecard through 4. John.
Well, Vincent White has evened it up on my scorecard, 38-38 through 4 rounds. You know, it's something you alluded to earlier about what's his mentality. He's coming off a series of losses. I'm talking about Robert Mohammed. And sometimes a fighter develops a bit of a loser's mentality, where even though they appear to be the better fighter in the ring, they just can't seem to get over the hump psychologically to win the fight. Robert Mohammed's come out really strong in this round. Let's see if he can get over that.
Well, great minds think alike. John Saraceno, you have the same scorecard as John Scheinman, huh?
38-38.
And this fight wears on, scheduled for 6. Beginning of this round, as we listen to John Scheinman, Robert Mohammed really came out on fire. Good fight, very good fight. And Vincent White in danger here of losing for the first time in his pro career. Just depends on how much Robert Mohammed has in his gas tank.
No question. This is going to come down to a fatigue factor for Mohammed. Again, you see the retreat, stick and move tactics by White. He had a very good round, the 3rd round, though, when he went southpaw on the inside and took it to Mohammed. Now he's abandoned that strategy, at least he did for the last round and a half.
And again, it depends on, if you're a judge, what you like to see. Do you like to see the aggressor? Do you like to see the boxer? Here is Vincent White changing to the southpaw stance as he did in the 3rd round, but up against the ropes. That's Mohammed's fight.
No question. But it's not only who's taking the fight, it's who's landing the clean, hard punches. That's really the only way to score a professional fight. And a lot of the punches that Mohammed throws are very wide and they cuff around the back of the head. Those are not scoring blows.
Mohammed trying to dig deep. You can see it right now. He's winded. He's got a round to go after this. Vincent White doing what he probably should have done from the first round on. Use the left jab. That's the first sign of a jab from White, and we're here in the 5th round.
Well, fatigue is also going to be a factor for White in this fight. You saw him take a step back and take a very deep breath.
This combination by Muhammad.
Well, he's letting Muhammad steal this round just by the fact he's being out-hustled.
Nice short right by Muhammad. Body shot by White. White doesn't have a lot of power, but he's scoring with those blows. Piston-like punches from Robert Muhammad.
It's not that Muhammad's a heavy puncher. He certainly isn't. But he is landing the majority of the shots in this round, although White is coming on towards the end.
Oh, wild uppercut by Robert Muhammad. That missed by a good yard. 5 rounds in the books here at the Ballroom. Robert Muhammad and Vincent White, a very, very tough, close fight. The final round might be the decider. It's next after this. Final round. This is a very tough fight, very tight fight. Robert Muhammad in the dark trunks with the white trim, in the blue trunks, unbeaten BOJAY Vincent White from Capitol Heights, Maryland. And Mr. Saraceno from USA Today, with 1 round to go, who do you have in front?
Muhammad 48-47. Close fight, good fight.
Potential for a draw. Muhammad throwing with those bad intentions we hear about. And little pity-pat jab from Vincent White. So again, what's your pleasure? Is it the power punching or is it the precision of Vincent White?
Well, certainly Muhammad's been carrying the fight by moving forward. Not always effective in his punches thrown, but certainly he's carried the action and forced White into the kind of fight that White doesn't really want to fight.
Big left hand by Muhammad.
Well, they almost clash heads there, too.
Another right hand by Muhammad. The little pity-pat punches now have given way to retreating from Vincent White.
And White's fighting right now like he's ahead in the fight. Maybe he knows something we don't. But to me, he should be throwing a lot more punches and trying to win this round. There's a good lead right hand by White.
White is throwing punches, but they are not landing with consistency. Muhammad puts power behind every shot. Muhammad acknowledging us at ringside. Maybe you heard that, huh?
I think he liked your analysis.
Good body shot by Muhammad. Neither fighter really distinguishing themselves here in the final round. Who wants it the most? Hard to tell by the way this final round is unfolding. Good sharp right hand by White.
And White is kind of sharpshooting now in the middle to the latter stages of this round. The final round.
Muhammad's punches are slowing down.
Not a lot of steam.
Flash of the heads there. You're going to have to be careful. Both fighters are tired. Another right hand by Muhammad. Another right hand by Muhammad. Just misses with a left hand. The fighter has really been hurt in this fight. Center of the ring, toe-to-toe. Malik Waleed has had very little to do in this fight. Very clean fight through 6 rounds.
It's not that White doesn't know how to fight on the inside. It's just that he chooses to fight from the outside using his tools, which are his legs and his jab.
This fight apparently will go to the judges' scorecards. And right now, your guess is as good as mine as who is on top on those cards. Here's White trying to fire off.
The old shoe shining.
Close this fight out, hoping that would be enough. Muhammad, his mouth open, blood dripping from the mouth of Robert Muhammad. Trying to come on with one final assault at the end of this fight. Both fighters putting it out in the final round. The crowd loves the action here at the Ballroom. Muhammad and Vincent White, very close fight. Neither fighter went down. The decision is coming up right after this. All right, welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. John, a real tough fight. Vincent White, Robert Muhammad. It's going to go to the judges' scorecards. Who do you think won that fight?
Very close fight. You could score it or draw, perhaps a slight edge to White. I had it scored a draw. But,
okay.
But if you say White won the fight, I don't have a problem with that.
If Saraceno is right and that fight was a draw, maybe I'll buy him dinner here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Let's go up to Pat O'Malley with the official decision. Vincent White could have lost for the first time. Let's go find out.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, how about a fine round of applause for both boxers? We have a unanimous decision. Judge Ken Chevalier scores it 58-56. Judge Holmes scores it 59-55. And Judge Campanesi scores it 58-56. And the winner, Vincent White.
Not a popular decision with the crowd here at Michael's 8th Avenue. A close fight, however, and Vincent White remains unbeaten, running his record to 8-0-1. Great to have you with us tonight for Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. John, a good matchup in the ring. Let's take a look at the matchup. Dana Rucker, the Predator, against the Fist of Fury, Dennis McKinney.
A couple of 6-footers, Larry. Rucker weighing in at 167, a pound more than Dennis McKinney. And Rucker also has a slight reach advantage, which should come in handy.
Rucker with a very fine amateur career. He is unbeaten at 3-0. Dennis McKinney is going to be a tough test. Let's get the official introduction from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carlin Milligan Jr. and Executive Director Patrick Piniella and Ballroom Boxing present this 6-round bout in the super middleweight division. The referee in charge is Bill Holmes. Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, wearing the red, white, and blue trunks, weighing 165 pounds from Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 2-2-1 and 1 KO. Please welcome Dennis Fist of Fury McKinney. Out of the red corner, wearing the blue, red, white, and striped trunks, weighing 167.5 pounds from Baltimore, Maryland, with a record of 3-0, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Dana Rucker.
Two tall, lean fighters, Dennis McKinney and Dana Rucker. Dana Rucker has the unblemished 3-0 record. This fight scheduled for 6 rounds. And they are at the, they're above the middleweight limit, so they, what you might call super middleweights. And the long locks of Dana Rucker pulled back with a rubber band. This fight is underway.
I don't know if it's Rucker's hair, but he looks like he's a little bit taller than 6 feet. A long amateur career. He had a very good amateur career, but now he's trying to step it up, make the transition into the pro game.
Did not make the Olympic team, did everything but that as an amateur. But the record shows Dana Rucker at 3-0. He really has not been tested in that. Dennis McKinney, the record of 2-2-1. We've seen him before here in Ballroom Boxing. Good left hand by McKinney in the first round.
He lost a 4-rounder to George Barksdale, who was supposed to have fought on this card originally.
And also, he fought Carlos Diaz, who was on the card here tonight at Michael's, to a draw. So Dennis McKinney is active. He's also rather young, 25 years old.
Rucker's got a long pole with that left-hand jab.
He's got to use it, though.
That's good. If he stashes it, it's of no value.
See McKinney a little bit more on his toes, a little more mobile than Rucker here in the first round.
Hey, what? Rucker backing up. Very dangerous kind of maneuver.
I want to thank the folks here at Michael's 8th Avenue for the hospitality, as always, for Ballroom Boxing. Next up in the ballroom, May the 13th. May the 13th, Ballroom Boxing returns to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. For ticket information, dial 410-766-7474. Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie.
As we settle into this first round, Rucker really not able to get into any kind of a sustained rhythm, Larry.
He's trying to get that jab going, and he's got the reach advantage. by a couple inches over Dennis McKinney.
McKinney being a little bit smaller of a fighter, even though we both had him listed at 6 feet in the tail of the tape. He's got to get inside a little bit.
Both fighters in good condition.
You see McKinney being very respectful of that left jab by Rucker, even though he hasn't been using it a lot, at least not effectively.
Rucker is loosened up in this first round. He came out a little tight, overhand right by Rucker. McKinney moves forward. And Rucker needs room to operate. I think McKinney does would do himself well to try to shorten that distance, get a little inside the jab of Dana Rucker.
You know, you don't see a lot from fighters these days is the movement, the elusiveness, the way they move side to side to avoid punches. A lot of fighters walking straight in on their opponent.
More to come from the ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. Round 2 underway. Super middleweights here, Dana Rucker and Dennis McKinney. Rucker, best way to identify him is he's got the ponytail. They have similar trunks, blue and red. Dana Rucker, fine amateur background. He is 3-0, 2 knockouts. Dennis McKinney, 2-2-1.
The dreadlock thing seems to be catching on with some of these fighters. Lewis, Briggs. Not George Foreman.
No, not George Foreman.
Not sure he can sprout it like he once did.
Nice cross right there by Rucker. None of us can sprout it like we once did, huh?
That is a fact.
McKinney breathing heavy. I think the jab in the face of McKinney is beginning to bother him a little bit. You see on the face of Rucker, a little confidence coming together for the tall, lanky man from Baltimore. In fact, both these guys are from Baltimore. Dennis McKinney, originally from Fort Riley, Kansas.
Rucker had a smirk on his face there. Both fighters kind of collided. McKinney's yet to kind of figure out this long, lean, angular style of Rucker's, which poses problems for a lot of fighters, at least it did in the amateur ranks. He's got to try to break down that body somehow.
This is not amateur boxing, however.
No.
And if McKinney can find some strength, find an angle.
How's he going to win this fight, fighting Rucker from the outside, though? I don't see it.
Right now, no shot from that distance. Rucker doing a good job keeping his jab out there. Rucker really trying to set up the right hand. You can see him. He needs room, though. He needs room for the right hand.
And McKinney's having problems defensively as Rucker backs him up. He doesn't quite know what to do. Looks like he's in no man's land.
Little blood from the nose of Dennis McKinney right now here in round 2.
You can see Rucker settling down a little bit more in this second round, kind of finding his flow.
See, Rucker, they talk about his amateur background and how fine an amateur background he has had. Just 3-0 as a professional. And he does need a lot of seasoning, but at the same time, he has some skills. You can tell by the way he carries himself. Rucker with the left hand really low right now, really almost daring McKinney to fire the right hand.
And McKinney did. He obliged.
Rucker might be trying to draw him in by holding his hand low, though, hoping to counter it off a McKinney mistake. Bill Holmes is the referee for this fight. Now McKinney trying to jab his way in. Round 2 coming to a close at the ballroom. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Don't go away. Larry Michael and John Saraceno, and it's great to be with you tonight for Ballroom Boxing. From Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, in the ring right now, super middleweights, Dennis McKinney and the ponytailed Dana Rucker. And let's check in with our own John Scheinman from Ring Magazine. 2 rounds are in the books, John Scheinman. Who do you have ahead on your scorecard?
First round to McKinney, second round to Rucker, all even at 19-19. One thing, well, that was a good shot right there, but one thing I've been noticing about Dana Rucker is he does not plant himself when he punches. When he throws the jab, he's bobbing around up on his toes. When he throws the right hand, he's bobbing again up on his toes. I think he needs to establish command with his left jab, and then when he goes to punch, really set down and throw with authority.
Third round continuing. Rucker really not showing the jab as much as he needs to. This fight slowly breaking down to a fight where neither fighter is showing a lot of aggression.
Well, it's the styles of both fighters. The matchup is really the kind of thing you don't really want. You got two boxers trying to fight from the outside, and it's like trying to watch grass grow.
Well, body shot by Rucker. The crowd getting a bit impatient here at Michaels, 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie.
So Rucker trying to shoot the right hand with a counter over the jab of McKinney. Didn't really hit the target, though.
McKinney showing a lot more movement in this round from side to side. Nice stiff jab by Rucker.
Well, McKinney will never be a ticket seller. I mean, people don't want to watch a guy run around the ring. There comes a point when you got to sit down and fight.
Rucker continuing to move forward, and he is sitting down a bit more on his punches. Rucker continues to move forward, trying to set up the right hand with that left jab. Jab by Rucker. And McKinney holds on. Rucker gaining in confidence as this fight wears on, John.
Well, he should be. He's got the guy running all around the ring. Obviously, McKinney's paying a lot of respect to Rucker. Right now, he's treating Rucker like he's Roy Jones Jr.
Rucker continues to move forward, but not moving forward behind the jab. A little more blood from the nose of Dennis McKinney. McKinney continues to move away. He's moving to Rucker's left. That could be dangerous with that left hand of Rucker's. This body shot by Rucker.
Simply not a lot of effective punches being landed through the first 3 rounds of this fight. No other way to say it.
We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing in just a moment. Round 4 underway. Super middleweights. And Dana Rucker and Dennis McKinney, not really what you call a crowd-pleasing fight, though both fighters showing good defensive skills. Rucker showing a little more aggression, and John Saraceno, got to figure you have Rucker ahead on your scorecard.
He got him ahead by a couple of points, but right now it's not really a fight. We call this ballroom ballet rather than ballroom boxing.
I took the ballroom a little too literally, huh?
Yes, they did. I have to get Mr. Wagner to take that off the
ballroom
promo.
Dancing,
right?
Huh? Yeah, that's good. Still breakdown. Dana Rucker is unbeaten, 3-0, and he's doing what he has to do against an opponent who is not falling into his trap. And you can't blame McKinney if he's tasting the jab of Rucker to try to stay away. But he will not win from that distance.
You can't win a fight like this. You're not going to curry any favor with the judges when you just simply retreat and throw occasionally. And you're seeing Rucker actually coming on in this round. I'm sure his corner got on him, telling him to be more aggressive. You saw some good flurry to the body earlier in the round that scored for Rucker. He's got to find a way to cut off that ring.
Good body work by Rucker. McKinney really just covering up and holding on right now. He's got to get active a little bit here. Slapping left hand by Dennis McKinney. And we have not seen the Fist of Fury that his nickname would indicate he has. Dennis McKinney doing very little offensively in this fight.
Well, I hope Bruce Lee is not watching this in heaven right now, because if he is, he's not going to be happy that Mr. McKinney stole his nickname, or at least one of his movies, I think.
Rucker continuing to move forward and lead the way in this fight.
He does have furious feet, though.
So McKinney backs up, and Rucker continues to try to push McKinney back. McKinney just smothering Rucker right now.
Not cooperating. And you know, at this point, Bill Holmes, it's not beyond his responsibility as a referee and the man in charge in the ring to tell McKinney to start fighting. McKinney just does not look like he has any confidence, Larry.
You know, at times, At times, McKinney has tried to be aggressive, and just Rucker too strong for him, John. This is a matchup which is unfolding as you might think. Rucker unbeaten, really taking the play away from Dennis McKinney early in this fight. And we'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing. McKinney and Rucker. Round 5 is next after this. Larry Michael with John Saraceno. We're at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Tonight's action brought to you by Toyota and by Coors Beer.
Dennis McKinney, originally from Fort Riley, Kansas, now living out of Baltimore, where Dana Rucker is from. So McKinney's going to have a hard time showing his face in Baltimore after this fight if he doesn't start trying to set down and throw.
John, you have this one-sided in favor of Rucker. Let's go to John Scheinman to see how he sees this fight. John.
Well, I only gave McKinney the first round. Rucker pulling away, and he's had 39-37 on my scorecard. You know, considering the amateur background, for me personally, I hold Rucker to a higher standard. I want to see more out of him. I don't think his aggression is that effective. He doesn't look like a very strong puncher to me. So while I have him ahead, I'm not rating him high points with this performance.
Well, in fact, might be coming down to the level of the competition. Tough to get aggressive with a guy that doesn't want to fight or doesn't want to mix it up. I'm not saying that McKinney doesn't want to fight. It's just he's reluctant. He's reluctant to get into the range where he has to be to make contact. And right now it's just slipping away. It's slipping away very quickly.
And every time they get in close, frequently McKinney grabs Rucker. But John's right too. Rucker's got to learn to deal with stuff like this. Cut off the ring a little bit better. He's not getting on that outside foot. And he's kind of trailing McKinney as he chases him.
McKinney almost anticipating the clinch, anticipating the punches, almost going into a shell as the punches come. It's like right there, McKinney just too slow and really can't defend himself.
He's fighting in little spurts. Every once in a while, throw a couple of punches.
And if Rucker could cut off the ring.
It's a left hook by McKinney.
Snuck it in.
Yep.
I think it really hurt Rucker. Rucker, I think, has the tools to be able to put McKinney away, just isn't going to those tools right now.
Well, this hit and run tactic, more run than hit. There are times when Rucker's been surprised when McKinney's launched a couple of shots. Caught him off guard. That left hook has been landing a little bit.
Crowd really kind of just impatient with the action right now. Overhand left by McKinney, nowhere close to connecting.
Now Rucker picked that off.
McKinney just buries his head and moves forward. And if Rucker was smart, take a step to the side and fire an uppercut. Closing moments of the 5th round. This fight is scheduled for 6. Rucker cruising ahead right now. Does McKinney have what it takes to pull it out in the 6th? We're going to find out. We're set for the 6th and final round here. Super middleweights, Dana Rucker and Dennis McKinney. Rucker with the ponytail in this fight. And John Saraceno, this fight really has unfolded in the direction of Dana Rucker, doing what he has to do to win. You could say that Dana Rucker is not looking impressive in his winning performance, but it takes a heck of a fighter to look impressive against a guy who is just in there to survive.
I think you said it all.
Right now, though, Rucker really turning up the heat, and McKinney is hurt, and he is down, and blood pouring from the nose of Dennis McKinney, and this fight is over. A quick onslaught by Dana Rucker might have broken the nose of Dennis McKinney, and it is over.
Referee Bill Holmes had enough. He had enough of the track aspect of this fight, and McKinney was bleeding for several rounds.
That combination busted open the nose of Dennis McKinney.
He was stunned, though, when he found out the fight was halted. He got back up, and he couldn't believe it.
I don't know if that was a quick stoppage. I think it was a good stoppage by Bill Holmes. I think there was really very little chance of Dennis McKinney to win that fight, so why inflict him any more punishment? 31 seconds into the 6th round, and Dana Rucker improves his record to 4-0.
There you see that flurry as Rucker gets off, pinning McKinney into the corner. And you see McKinney kind of almost turning his back, which is a sign to a referee that a fighter does not want to continue. And I think that's what Bill Holmes thought would happen. The fight was over. McKinney didn't want any more. He halted the action.
Let's hear from Pat O'Malley with the official decision.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a TKO at 31 seconds of the 6th and final round. Still undefeated, now at 4-0, Dana Rucker.
So Dana Rucker victorious. And just as we said, he was not looking impressive. He closes the door on Dennis McKinney. For Dana Rucker, that is his 3rd knockout of 4 wins. John Saraceno, what do you think of Dana Rucker, a fine, young, maybe light heavyweight of the future?
Well, he's got some skills, but again, he's going to have to learn to be a better puncher and set down on those punches and learn how to master that aspect of boxing. This is not amateur boxing. He's going to have to punch with more authority.
All right, folks, more boxing coming up from the ballroom. Stick around on Home Team Sports. Hope you're ready for heavyweights, folks. Got a couple big ones in the ring. Garth Hedger getting set to take on Kevin Hudson. And let's take a look at the matchup, John Saraceno.
211 pounds for Garth Hedger. He's trying to put on more weight. He's got a weight advantage on Kevin Hudson and a reach advantage. So that goes in Garth's corner.
Garth Hedger kind of building a following here in the D.C. Baltimore area. Pat O'Malley set for the official introductions.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr., Executive Director Patrick Piniella, and Ballroom Boxing present the 6th-round bout in the heavyweight division. The referee calling the shots will be Gary Camponeschi. Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks trimmed in white, weighing 202 pounds, from Greer, South Carolina, with a record of 2-2, 2 via the KO. Please welcome Kevin the Hurricane Hudson. Out of the red corner, wearing the red trunks trimmed in gold, weighing 210 pounds, from Bowie, Maryland, with a record of 9-2-1, 8 by knockout. Please welcome Garth the Power Hedger.
Garth Hedger, Larry Michael with John Saraceno. We're joined at ringside by Corey T-Rex Sanders, a mighty big, strong heavyweight. First of all, got a little winning streak going. Keep it up, big fella.
All right, thank you, sir.
Now, you've worked a lot with Garth Hedger. Garth gives you a lot of credit for making him a better fighter. What do you think is going to happen tonight as we get ready for this one to start?
Well, I think Garth going to go in there. He's going to work on the jab, things that he's been working on in the gym. And I pretty much think he's going to get him out of there.
We're going to wait and see. Garth Hedger actually has a weight advantage on the opposition this time, which is unusual for him, John.
Yeah, Garth has been trying to put on more weight. He says he's doing everything but using steroids to try to bulk up. Just not a big guy, particularly by today's standards for a heavyweight, but certainly at 211, he's got enough of a frame where he could be, use his body effectively. Certainly not as big as T-Rex Sanders sitting next to us.
T-Rex is large. Corey, Garth Hedger told us that he's been trying to get stronger and he's been trying to start a little faster. His management thinks he really doesn't get off the fast starts. What do you do to stop from doing that?
Stop from doing
No, to try to get yourself to start faster. Any technique you could use?
Well, like warming up early in the gym, in the dressing room and coming out here just going to work. And Garth, he should be able to do that.
Little redness around the nose of Hudson already in this first round.
Well, Hudson landed a sneaky little right uppercut a moment ago. I think it got Garth's attention really quick.
Little redness around the eyes of Garth Hedger.
Tell you what, he got his attention really quick in February against Raylon Wallace. That fight was on ESPN on the undercard of the Mark Johnson-Arthur Johnson fight. Garth went down 2 times in the first round. One of them was probably more a slip. Had a lot of people worried. They thought he was behind in that fight. And there was an accidental clash of heads in the 6th round, Larry. And Wallace ended up quitting in that fight, and Garth was ahead on the scorecards at that time, but a lot of people were worried.
Fight continues, round 1. Hedger, good body shot. Might get to the body earlier. Right hand by Hudson. Hudson operates a karate school down in South Carolina, so watch his feet, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
Hedger using some head movement.
Watch Garth going to work on this straight. He's been working on a straight right hand. He should use that a whole lot in this fight.
And how about his jab? He says he tends to be lazy with the jab like some heavyweights. He's been trying to, double up, use it a little bit more.
Good pounding body shot. Hudson fires back.
Yeah, Hudson's a very game fighter tonight.
Garth Hedger was very honest with us. He says, hey, I got a lazy jab. I'm trying to work on it. Very honest about his skills and honest about his like of you, T-Rex. You guys are buddies, huh?
Yeah, I can't tell the way you be beating up on me in the gym. Somebody should remind him we buddies.
And Hudson firing back. Combination by Hudson. Kevin Hudson out of Greer, South Carolina, a record of 2-2 with 2 knockouts. Hudson just 26 years old. Garth Hedger, 28.
There was that straight right hand.
Hudson in some trouble now. Running from Garth. Not a lot of time left in this first round.
Ready to fall on us.
Left. And he waves it off. The referee waves it off with under 10 seconds to go in the first round.
Wow. Kevin Hudson, irate, clearly not out on his feet. Gary Campaneschi's had a tough night tonight, and that's a questionable call, but you see Pat Piniella from the Maryland Commission supporting his referee in this ring with that stoppage. Garth Hedger, a local favorite, goes to 10-2-1, and that's his 9th knockout. There's going to be a controversy over this one, though. What do you think, Corey?
Corey, he turned his back on Hedger. Do you think that was the key moment for the referee to make his decision?
Yes, because you are not supposed to turn your back during the fight. So a lot of refs, instead of saying somebody get hurt, they'll just call the fight off. I think the ref made a good decision, though.
Crowd does not like it. You can see in the face of Garth Hedger, he is trying to eliminate Hudson, and the referee steps in.
That's a very debatable call. We could talk about that one all night, right, Corey?
Yes.
What's that? I love you to my son.
On the other hand, to be fair to referee Campaneschi, his first job is to protect the fighters at all times, and I think he believed that Kevin Hudson was out and in trouble on his feet.
Let's see what Pat O'Malley has to say about Garth Hedger.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner by TKO at 2:55 of round 1, Garth the Power Hedger.
Well, Garth Hedger has a lot of fans here. He almost looks embarrassed to take home that victory the way it ended.
Yeah, I don't think no fighter is really satisfied when a fight ends that way. I don't even think the winner is satisfied. I think he wanted to finish business. He felt he had Kevin Hudson in trouble and was unable to do that.
Corey T-Rex Sanders, thanks for stopping by for this fight. We look forward to seeing you March 13th here at the Ballroom.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy. Corey Sanders.
One of the real gentlemen in boxing.
Really is. And that was the moment there where Hudson turned his back, and the left hand by Garth Hedger, you could say it's questionable. I don't think it would have made much difference. Garth Hedger is victorious, running his record, as John Saraceno told us, to 10-2-1 with 9 knockouts. Hedger's on a roll. The knockout here over Kevin Hudson. Well, it was stopped quickly. Let's see what Garth Hedger thinks about the stoppage. Let's see what Garth Hedger thinks about the victory. Let's go to John Steinman standing by with Garth.
I'm here with the guy I'd least like to be slugged by in the building, Garth Hedger, coming off a first-round knockout over Kevin Hudson. Garth, the crowd was unhappy with this decision. How does it make you feel to score a one-round knockout and then have the crowd boo?
It made me feel good because it didn't take away from my work habits. I didn't stop the fight. I love these people in Maryland. It was not my decision. My trainers and I work hard in the gym. I work hard outside of the gym, and I have no excuses. I can't make any excuses for that. If they want a rematch, we'll gladly oblige. I did what I wanted to do. I was calm. I was more patient. I just came off a hard fight, and I know they're the paying public, and I respect that. So.
What did you feel about the stoppage? Did you think that Hudson could have continued?
I feel it was just. I don't really know. You know, I'm not a referee. It's not my job to referee, and the commissioner's the one who came in and stopped it. So I know what I've done to opponents in the past, and they're just doing it. They're there to provide a safety hazard, and that's the last hazard before the guy hits the mat. I'd rather see somebody walk out, come back, and do a rematch, which I gladly give. It's not like he's a contender, and it's not like he's got a blemishing record. So, I mean, we will gladly take a rematch or whatever they want to do. I'm in here, I'm working, and I appreciate everybody supporting me.
Well, any way you can get it, Garth Hedger with the victory. Let's go back to ringside.
Well, you're not going to find a more articulate heavyweight than Garth Hedger, a guy who right after a fight says the absolute perfect things, will give the guy a rematch. I'm not the referee. I'm not the one who stopped the fight.
Well, he's right. You can't blame him. I think the fight was stopped prematurely, but Garth Hedger went in and did his job.
All right, let's see if the loser, Hudson, has something to say. Let's go back to John Scheinman.
I'm here with Kevin Hudson, who just was lost a first-round technical knockout to Garth Hedger. Very unpopular stoppage with the crowd. Kevin, you protested very vehemently. What are your feelings about what happened?
Well, I was very upset about it. He tagged me a couple of times. I was not hurt. I was totally coherent. The ref jumped in and stopped it. Didn't even look, you know, he just jumped in and stopped it with, you know, now he tagged me about twice in a row. And then it was 5 seconds left in the round.
It seems like when Garth Hedger hit you and hurt you hard the first time, you turned your back and ran out of the way to get out of the way of more punishment. Do you think that influenced the referee when you turning your back momentarily?
Well, you know, if he's swinging, you want to get out of the way. And he was coming straight forward. I was trying to get out of the way the best I could. I don't know whether that influenced him or not. You know, I was totally coherent. I wasn't wobbly or nothing, so.
You coming back for a rematch?
Well, I want to come back and do it as soon as possible. The doctor said I'm not going to be suspended or anything because it was a bad call. But, you know, things like that happen. That's the business.
Garth Hedger ready for a rematch. Kevin Hudson also willing to have a rematch. Maybe it'll happen down the line. Let's go back to ringside.
Oh, that John Scheinman, he has a way with words, a way with an interview. He talks to both Hedger and Hudson. Both guys make a pretty good point. In looking at the replay again, I don't know if he necessarily turned his back on Garth Hedger. He was trying to avoid a punch, and he had his senses about him when he made that move away. I don't know if he necessarily did turn his back to the opponent, Hedger.
And really, I think that's beside the point. The action that happened along the ropes really is separate of that, even though that happened momentarily beforehand. And I agree with the fighter who believes he was wronged. I mean, I think that the fight was stopped too soon. I think the referee made an error. I think he made an honest error, though, trying to protect the fighter.
Well, maybe we add another match to the May 13th card here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Maybe it's Hedger and Hudson. More from the ballroom. Don't touch that dial. Well, I'll tell you what, John Saraceno, I feel like I've gone 8 rounds here tonight. As usual, competitive matchups. And the big fight, Garth Hedger, controversy, a quick stoppage by the referee. Will we see them in the ring again, Hudson and Hedger?
I think you will see a rematch, and I think it was a quick stoppage in the first round. I think he recovered quickly on his feet. I think the referee erred in the safety of the fighter, made a mistake. I think Hedger is not happy the way he won that fight either.
Hope you folks enjoyed tonight's action from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie. Join us again for Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports.